Good morning, everyone. Hello, welcome to today's webinar, How to Enter the Chinese Market, Different Channels and Approaches. I'll be the moderator today. My name is Z, and thank you all for joining this webinar. First of all, I'd like to thank WestBIC, which is our current partner, for co-organizing this event, and your effort is truly appreciated. And this webinar will address a crucial topic for European SMEs, which is to understand and navigate the complexities of entering the Chinese market, because we know that the Chinese market offers immense opportunities for SMEs, but it can also be really challenging to enter. So today we will address these issues and share with you some practical knowledge on the different channels and approaches to enter the Chinese market. And during the session, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A box, and we will address these questions at the end of the segment. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. John Brennan, who is the CEO of WestBIC, to deliver the opening remarks and the short presentation of WestBIC.
Thank you, Z. I'd like to welcome everybody to our session this morning. It's great to be here with the EU SME Centre and also with our friends SPI, who are going to deliver the session here today. For those of you that are not aware of WestBIC, I'll give you a quick overview of WestBIC. We're a EU Business and Innovation Centre. We're one of 4 based in Ireland, where our location is the west of Ireland. So we cover the west and northwest region of Ireland. And our job really is to work with startups to get them to an investor-ready stage. And in that context, I met with Sarah in the EBN Congress last June, and she was updating me regarding the activities of the EU SME Centre, and we decided jointly that it would be good to host a webinar at some stage. So we're here today, thankfully, to fulfill that objective that we set ourselves last summer. In our workings with startups in Ireland, first of all, Ireland is a small country, so we also always have to be export focused in terms of our work with startups and SMEs. And it often comes up, the Chinese market. How do you enter the Chinese market? There's often a huge unknown in the sense of what are the requirements, what stage does a company need to be at, what are the regulatory issues, what are the cultural issues, and basically what supports can you get along the way. And I'm hoping that this morning we will be able to answer some of those questions, and I know that the follow-up support that's available through the SME Centre and the range of publications that's available on site will help all companies in terms of navigating their journey into the Chinese market. So that's just a brief introduction from my side. Without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to Sarah and the team in SPI to deliver the content of the webinar this morning.
Thank you, John. It was a really good introduction of your organization, and I think your dedication to the SMEs are really appreciated. So now we're going to invite Sarah Medina, who is the member of the board at SPI, to deliver a short presentation on the EU SME Centre and the scope of services it provides. Welcome, Sarah.
Good morning to all. Thank you so much, Z, for the very kind introduction. And a very good morning to all the participants that are joining us from different European countries, and also some that are joining us directly from China. Good afternoon. First of all, many thanks to John and for having accepted this invitation to jointly organize this webinar about how to enter the Chinese market, the different channels and approaches, and also many thanks to Colin for all the support in really putting this together. I'd like also to thank very much our EU Partnerships Manager, David Orlandi, for all the support also for this webinar, and also Weronika, our key experts, that you'll be able to hear in a few minutes. So I have just some information to share with you about what is this EU SME Centre and how all of you can benefit from really joining this type of events, and also if you can visit our websites and other type of activities that we are able to organize to support all of you. So the EU SME Centre really started basically in 2008, when the European Commission decided to do a feasibility study. That at the time SPI was in charge of it. We did the feasibility study to see if it was convenient for the European Commission to really to fund a physical center based in China that could support European SMEs from all the member states plus associated countries. So the center officially started in 2010. So it's right now under phase number 4 that goes until June next year, and is really to assist the small and medium-sized enterprises from all the EU member states and associated countries. And really, we provide all the support or all the first steps in terms of how you can get ready for the Chinese market. So we are really a consortium. We have different organizations. Apart from SPI, we have the China-Italy Chamber of Commerce that is leading our consortium. We have the European Chamber of Commerce in China. We have the Italy-China Council, and we have also other associated partners like the Trade Promotion Europe and the EU-China Business Association. In terms of our services, we have a self-diagnosis tool, an online tool that all of you can access. You just need to log in into our website, that I think it's really very well structured, and you can find the information very easily, and you can really get to know if you are ready to the Chinese market, and if you are ready, how ready you are, and what type of homework you need to do actually before going into China. So to work with China is very important that you do the right homework. I think Weronika will explain that much further, and that you are really prepared before engaging with the different Chinese potential partners. We also have the knowledge service, very comprehensive market reports, guidelines, and case studies. I think they are really excellent, well done. And I'd like to thank also Nelly, that is based in China, that really provides all the design and organizes all these nice reports in terms of visual aspects. And also Alessio, that has been cooperating with the EU SME Centre for a long time, also providing very good inputs for these reports. I think they are not very long. They tackle different sectors that are very useful for the European SMEs. So please download them. You just need to register in the website, and then you are able to download them and read them. We also provide advice in terms of practical and confidential advice on China-related matters. We have the trainings like this webinar, and we can also organize physical workshops, and we have budget to cover and to establish the partnerships with the business support organizations. And we have our advocacy that the European Chamber of Commerce in China is supporting us in providing a coherent, consistent, and consolidated voice for EU SMEs. We also organize our annual conference. We just had it a few weeks ago in Brussels. And we organize also trade missions to China. So this is what I wanted to present to you, and feel free to navigate more in our website or to contact us directly for further support. Thank you so much. I'll pass now to Zee.
Thank you, Sarah, for the presentation. I think the EU SME Centre will be a great resource for European SMEs to explore in terms of different service areas that we provide. So next, we will have our main topic of today with our EU SME Centre Business Advisor, Weronika. Welcome, Weronika. Please share with us your insight on the different channels and approaches to enter the Chinese market.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. My name is Weronika Gryglaszewska, surname quite challenging even for Polish people, and I'm a business advisor at the EU SME Centre, assisting European companies in navigating the Chinese market. While China offers significant opportunities, market entry can be challenging, especially for SMEs. So we want to give you a general overview about this exciting yet complex market. My presentation will be divided into three main topics. First of all, we will talk about the current situation and challenges. Then we will explore various market entry strategies, dive into the unique aspects of operating in the Chinese market. And finally, I will wrap up with the conclusions and information on how to engage with the EU SME Centre for support. So, current situation. What is China like in 2024? It's very important to remember the basics. China operates under a mixed economic system, which means that the state plays a significant role in planning the economy. While this happens at the national level, in fact, local governments serve as a key drivers, influencing various business dynamics. While planning business strategies to enter China, it's helpful to review the local 5-year plans because there is no one 5-year plan. There are many. These plans provide insight into the goals that have been set and the current direction of the economy. For agri-food products, don't forget to look at the document number 1, released each year by the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and the State Council, while there are ongoing efforts to improve China's self-sufficiency, food self-sufficiency. This year document points out the importance of fostering international agricultural cooperation. In the media, we often hear about how troubled the Chinese economy is. While it's true there is some slow growth and unemployment, the situation isn't as catastrophic. China still has the strong consumption power and interest in EU-made products. However, it's important to remember that our products won't sell just because they are from Europe and high quality. We have to put much more effort into it. In terms of direction, we can see more regulatory activities among many sectors. Many requirements are becoming clearer compared to the past, but this also means higher compliance costs. Activities related to green development are highly valued, and there is a greater emphasis on science and technology as a main driver of growth. We can also see still charm offensive for big and high quality projects like R&D, or in particularly important sector, there is a good chance in first-tier cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. For smaller companies, more opportunities can be found in the lower tier cities, which are a good option for SMEs and are looking to enter the Chinese market. But the reality check is that if we want to be successful in the Chinese market, having a strong business case is essential. We won't be competing only with other imported goods, but also with domestic production, which is very advanced and can be on a very high quality. To develop the business in China, local presence is highly recommended, sometimes even necessary. It's also crucial to stay informed about the changing dynamic in both China and EU, because not only China is changing, but also EU, and monitor how the trade patterns will evolve in the future. Okay, so what kind of challenges can SMEs expect once on the ground? Unfortunately, a lot of time we can see a lack of the adequate knowledge, preparation, and commitment. Chinese market is quite challenging and demands great deal of dedication to achieve success. We can't treat China as a side project because that approach simply won't work. Another critical factor is working with the right partners, whether they are distributors or agents. It's essential to find the right fit from the very beginning, because getting out of the existing partnership, for example, with exclusive distributor, can be difficult and time-consuming. We also need to be mindful about culture factors, cultural differences, like language barriers, and also different company culture. It sometimes is very challenging and difficult to accept by European companies. different role of government, which also can be a positive. They can support you a lot if you bring something which is aligned with the policy or priorities, but of course there is a lot of red tape and we should be aware of this. And what should be stressed? China is no longer a low-cost country. We must be prepared for high logistic costs, operational costs, compliance requirements, and of course personal costs, because they can be much more higher in Beijing or in Shanghai than in Europe. You will also have to face with the local competition that can be very fierce. As I mentioned, domestic production can be very high quality and advanced. And as you enter the market, be prepared for the unwritten barriers that may arise and aim to stay as agile as possible. Sometimes what actually law says, it's not the same what happened in the practice. So you have to read between the lines and of course be prepared for many things that can happen. Of course, this list of challenges is not completed. You have to be prepared for much more. There are just some most common ones. Now let's look at something interesting. Ireland stop export to China. As we can see, imports from Ireland to China is mainly via ports in Beijing, Sichuan, and Shanghai, what means that the customs in the city are familiar with goods from Ireland and also knew all the documentation. The key exports from Ireland to China are dominated by pharmaceutical products, notably the vaccine for human medicine make up significant portion of total market share. As we can see, 72%, very, very high. Additionally, Ireland's highest export value to China is electronic components, processor and controllers. Chinese main export to Ireland, a significant portion consists of various chemical compounds. Other notable exports include parts and accessories for machinery, as well as optical communication equipment. These exports mainly come through ports in Jiangsu, Guangdong, Zhejiang, or Shanghai. Now let's dive deeper into the specifics of operating within the Chinese market. So market entry strategies are various and has to be planned carefully based on your company's profile and products offering. You can choose between traditional export via agents, establish an entity in China, engage in a based R&D cooperation, which is recommended for technology companies, license of technology or outsourcing production, attract Chinese investor into your EU operation, and also the good practice is to work with existing international clients who already set up a business relationship with Chinese partners or plan to, or work with other foreign companies in China. Of course, there is no best way. Each has pros and cons, and you have to consider it very, very carefully. But in this presentation, I would like to focus on two primary ways to enter the Chinese market. One is via general trade, which is conventional method of entering a foreign market, and another is cross-border e-commerce, peculiarity of the Chinese market. So what exactly is cross-border e-commerce? The cross-border e-commerce platform is a special program in China that differs significantly from regular e-commerce sales. It regulates direct purchases made by Chinese consumers from overseas through third-party platforms. In simple words, products from overseas are sold directly to Chinese consumers via dedicated online platforms. However, it's important to note that only specific items listed on Chinese cross-border e-commerce positive list can be sold through this channel. Currently, this list includes 1,476 commodities, And the Chinese side may also update this list in response to changing consumer demands, since cross-border e-commerce introduction in 2016, positive list was updated 4 times. So in a nutshell, the cross-border e-commerce platform can be a good solution for SMEs wishing to explore market opportunities with limited business experience and resources on the market. But the answer, which method is better, general trade or cross-border e-commerce, isn't straightforward, and it depends on various factors. And in fact, there is not such a thing as a better channel. It's worth mentioning that while general trade does not exclude the possibility of selling through cross-border e-commerce, the reserve is not always true. For example, Poland wanted to sell pet food to China, but lacked of the necessary governmental protocol, so could only sell via cross-border e-commerce. Now with protocol in place, can sell both channels. What are the main differences between these two sell channels? For traditional trade, of course, you can operate both online and offline. You can engage with agents or distributors in China. In contrast, cross-border e-commerce operates only online using major cross-border e-commerce platform in China, such as Tmall Global, JD Worldwide, Kaola, Douyin, Xiaohongshu. This means you can sell directly to consumer in China from Europe, which is a key advantage. In terms of logistics, general trade allows for multiple sales channels, including business to business to consumer, business to consumer. You have the flexibility to store your goods anywhere. On the other hand, cross-border e-commerce focuses only on B2C sales and requires direct shipping or through bonded zones. Considering time and resources, general trade methods like setting up a subsidiary or distribution channel can be time-consuming and costly. In contrast, cross-border e-commerce operates much more like any other e-commerce platform, reducing the complexity. In general, trade compliance with local standards is essential, and you may need to register your products before shipment. This means paying close attention to labeling and packaging standards, which with cross-border e-commerce, however, you can retain your original packaging and labeling, which makes it a bit more convenient. Of course, both approaches have their pros and cons. General trade often involves long and complex market access procedures, which for some products can take even several years. You also risking partnering with the wrong distributors and lose some control over products. On the flip side, cross-border e-commerce has its own limitation. It's less flexible. It requires you to sell through dedicated online platforms only, and there are volume limits. Not all products are eligible because your product has to be on the cross-border e-commerce positive list, and you may face challenges in maintaining control over your products. Okay, so how to success in China? It's not an easy question, of course, and unfortunately, but with a good preparation, you can much more increase your chances on the Chinese market. So success in China often takes longer than in other markets. In simple terms, we can think of it as a 3 times rules. Achieving success in China market typically takes about 3 times longer than in other. So think of it as a marathon, not a sprint. When entering China, you are basically starting from the scratch, unless you are a well-known global company. It's recommended to focus on only one city at the beginning, preferably not first-tier city. The lower-tier cities are less saturated with Western goods. This approach allows you to better understand the market needs and also the consumer demands before you decide to scale up later. Mistakes and failures are quite common and sometimes cannot be avoided, so be prepared to make adjustments along the way. Branding and marketing are crucial and differ significantly from European approach. For instance, social media platforms differ. So if you want to promote your products effectively, you will have to get to know WeChat, Xiaohongshu, or Douyin. Your marketing strategy should be tailor-made for Chinese consumers. As I mentioned a couple of times, the government plays significant role in business in China, so having a dedicated resources for government affairs is also beneficial. But what is important, that even if your product is recognized and well known in Europe, it may not have the same recognition in China. As we say, don't think you are special. Because in China there's different taste, different knowledge gaps. So even if your product in Europe is considered high quality and premium, in China we will have to convince the consumers that your product is special, educate them why your product is so special and so unique. Another key factor in success in China is finding the right partners. So for the start, it's good to contact with local embassy and chamber of commerce. They can give you some recommendation. Maybe they have some database with contacts and can share with you. It's a good starting point. Also, the good approach is participating in the trade fairs in China, but choose carefully. Not every trade fairs are relevant for every businesses, so don't waste your time and resources. If you select a suitable fair, be sure you are well prepared, understand the Chinese market access requirements beforehand, and while initiating the contact with a potential business partner in China, maintain good communication and provide a quick follow-up, because Chinese partner will require this swift action, swift responses. Also, please remember that the most common communication platform in China is WeChat. It's of course not only for communication, but basically when you are in China and you meet people, they are usually scan your QR code and add to their contacts, and the contact is mainly via WeChat. I remember when I was working in Polish embassy in China, the most effective way of contact with Chinese official, like General Administration of Customs or Ministry of Agriculture, was via WeChat, not email, not verbal. It was via WeChat. Now let's take a moment to see some to discuss some common pitfalls during the trade fairs. For example, one Polish company, dairy company, went for the food fairs, but they didn't complete registration in a cipher single window. So Chinese importers didn't take them seriously, because if you do not obtain this Chinese registration number via a cipher single window system, in fact, you cannot sell your products in China. Another not nice situation happened to the Dutch honey producers. They went for the food fairs in China, but weren't aware of this, that they couldn't sell their products via general trade because they lacked of the necessary governmental protocol in place. It's also crucial to obtain all necessary permits for temporary import. It will safeguard that you have products to showcase at the fair. If you are interested in more information about trade fairs in China, more tips, we have this kind of report. You can download it from our website or via QR code. When we think with Chinese partners, it's important to be aware of different business culture. First, start a discussion from general principles and broad objectives before narrowing down to specific details. This approach aligns more with the communication style. Communication in China tends to be more indirect than what you might be used to. So be prepared for nuances, for reading between the lines, that not everything is so obvious. If you are interested in this topic, on our website, you can also find the article about differences between direct and indirect communication style, communication ways. It's crucial to adopt a long-term approaches when building relationships. Establishing trust and personal connection is essential in Chinese business culture. Building relationships, or guanxi in Chinese, is very, very important. It's quite common that your Chinese business partner will invite you for the drink, for a supper, for a dinner, or even to spend time with a family. This is how trust is built in China on personal relationships. Of course, be familiar with Chinese business etiquette. Nobody requires that you know everything, but knowing the basics will show your respect and understanding of the tradition. And finally, expect the interlocutor will know a lot about you, will research you, and possess a deep knowledge about your company and your products, and will ask a detailed question. So be prepared to answer them. Now let's focus a little bit on legal aspects. When working with partners, whether they are new or existing, is crucial to always conduct due diligence, checking a background of the company. Does it have any legal disputes or other things concerning red flags? Can raise your awareness of whom you will be working with, and even protect you from the scams. In EU SME Centre, we conduct this informal initial company background check. So if you are interested in this kind of service, please reach to us. Another very important thing, a solid contract in place is a must. This contract should cover key areas, including quality inspection and management, as well as outlining liabilities and penalties. It's also wise to avoid advance payments. We always recommend it. Instead of this, use safe payment methods like a letter of credits. Make sure that your contract specifies the choice of law and method of dispute settlements. And of course, don't forget about IPR. Secure it as soon as possible, because in China there is a rule: first come, first served, or first to file. So if you are interested also in this kind of issues, we have a sister project, EU project called China IP SME Help Desk, and they are extremely helpful resources in navigating these issues. You can reach them, and their services are also free of charge. And lastly, it's very important to remember that protecting yourself through due diligence and legal agreements does not mean you distrust your partners. It's just a must. Now let's look at some company chops. If you see this kind of stamps, different color, different shape with Hong Kong inside, be sure that they have no legal value in mainland China. It's a big red flag, just no legal value. So the proper one will look like this. They will be red, round with the red star in the middle. They can have Latin letters that also can have this inner circle, but don't have to. They should be round red with red star inside. If you are interested in more details about drafting sales contracts when exporting to China, please feel free to download our report. Okay, so the real challenges begins once you are in the market. So one more time, please remember about IPO registration. Do it even before entering the market to protect your brand and innovation. Establishing a strong social media presence is crucial. Engage audience through live streaming session and collaborate with key opinion leaders and key opinion consumers to enhance your visibility and credibility. And remember that social media platforms are different from this in Europe. So forget about Facebook, so forget about X, Instagram. Now you have to switch to WeChat, Xiaohongshu, Douyin, or any online platform on which you will sell your products. Event marketing also plays a significant role. Participate in retail promotion activities. Remember about online shopping festivals like Double 11 or Singles Days. Remember about Chinese festival like Spring Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival. These can elevate your sales. One more time, education and training. As I mentioned, your product might be special and unique in Europe, but in China may not have this kind of recognition. So it's important to educate Chinese consumers and importers why your product is so special, unique, why they should buy it. So you can make video tutorials or tasting events, which is always very welcome. Don't overlook the significance of customer service and after-sale service. These aspects are essential for building trust and loyalty among consumers. Chinese consumers are very demanding and accept these kind of services 7 days per week, 24 hours, and it can really influence the rating, and the rating is very, very important in China. Logistic management, of course. Efficiently handling logistics can greatly impact your ability to deliver products on time and maintain customer satisfaction, as this is very, very important. Of course, networking is a key. Engage in sponsorship, make sure to attend technical seminars, trade fairs, or any other meetings that can foster relationship and increase your market presence. And as I mentioned, government affair person can be beneficial even if you have limited resources or small team. You can have a person who has this task within other responsibilities. And finally, be aware of the cybersecurity, ICT, and data transfer challenges that may arise. Protecting your digital assets and ensuring compliance with local regulation is crucial. And one more time, please don't take things for granted. There is a significant difference in taste and in knowledge gaps among consumers. It's essential that your strategy is tailor-made for Chinese consumers. Now it's a time for conclusion and information how to engage with us. So, of course, China and you are changing significantly, and we have to be aware of this and be prepared for this. China, of course, is a very important market. Opportunities exist, but it's also a very demanding and difficult market. I remember when I was in China on some kind of conference, and I heard this sentence: in China, everything is difficult, but nothing impossible. And I think it's very, very true. You can also consider China as a base of accessing other markets, for example, South Asian markets, because China signed a lot of free trade agreements. So it also can be a good opportunity to expand to the South Asian markets. And while you are on the market, use the opportunity to learn new industry trends and innovation. It can help to develop your products. Of course, key is to be well informed, as fortune favors well informed and fully prepared. Plan carefully, ask yourself a lot of questions. I think this is the most important one. Why Chinese clients need your products? Is there a place for your products on Chinese market, and why they should buy it? Of course, act gradually, think long term. They won't be a quick success. This is a marathon, so you have to prepare your strategy very well. And of course, build on trust secured by safeguards, always due diligence, and always solid contracts. And how to engage with us, please visit our website. We have this self-diagnosis tool Sarah mentioned. You can ask us questions via email, and please propose topics or training session and reports, because we want our services reflect real market needs. And of course, I would like to invite you to complete the survey, because your feedback is very, very important for us. You can also see our activities. Visit us in LinkedIn on YouTube. So thank you very much. I hope this presentation was useful. I will be more than happy if you would like to contact with me directly. You can ask me, of course, any question. If I cannot answer them right away, I will come back to you after the webinar. Thank you very much one more time.
Thank you, Weronika, for the very insightful session. I think you gave a really comprehensive overview on how to enter the Chinese market. So from the audience, if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box or the Q&A box, and then we will address them. And for now, I have a few questions for you, Weronika. So you mentioned that it's important for SMEs to do branding and marketing in China, especially using the local channels. So I'm wondering, because of the language barriers, do you recommend these SMEs to find partners in China for manage the local Xiaohongshu or Douyin, or do you think it's better for the SMEs to develop strategies by themselves and then outsource these services?
Of course, I think the most suitable one will be to hire agents based in China who knows the background of these social media platforms. All will be in English, and it should be always tailor-made for Chinese consumers. So these persons who know exactly the background of the Chinese consumer and know how to navigate this, I think, this complex online platform. It's very, very difficult. So yes, I think the best solution is to have the partnership, not doing this alone.
Yeah, thank you. So I think that also can go to my second question, because you also mentioned it's very important to find a good partner in China to avoid having some damage on your business operations or IP. So you mentioned that there are a few ways to find partners in China. So I'm wondering, when the SMEs are doing due diligence in China, what are the things that they need to be focusing on, except for the stamp issue that you mentioned? What are the other aspects you think are really important for SMEs to look out for when they are searching for partners?
Of course, if the company, how much the company paid, the total of capital is also important. It's not necessary, but it will tell us if we can safeguard some amount for potential legal disputes. how long the company is on the market, what are the scope of the market, is it only a trade company, a lot of nuances that we have to check. Also when thinking what we want to do in China. Yes, so this is important to take into consideration what kind of company we want to work with.
So I think we have a few questions from the audience. I'm just going to read it to you and please answer these questions.
Okay.
We have the first question from the Ireland China Institute. They're asking regarding CBEC, what are the names of the online platforms?
Tmall Global, JD Worldwide, Kaola, Douyin, Xiaohongshu. They are easy to find on the website, on the internet, sorry. Also on our website, we have a report dedicated cross-border e-commerce.
Thank you. I hope that answered your question. And the next one is from Thomas K. I read it easy to set up a WFOE in China, but I have a hard time to find good examples of the necessary documentation. Do you have a list of recommended law firms for this? Ideally, those who speak English well.
You can find we have a lot of partners. You can find also on our website the database with contact to the law firm which we recommended, with whom we are cooperating. So yes, please visit our website and you can find a lot of English-speaking law firms there. Contact to them.
Okay, thank you. The next one is from Marku Raja. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. You mentioned that it may be difficult to exit or terminate an exclusive distributor agreement. Why did you say that?
It was in the context that it's very, very important to find the right distributor for the very beginning, because if you enter the exclusive agreement with this distributor and you are not satisfied with his with the cooperation with this distributor, it's difficult to change the distributor to exit this agreement. So it will be time consuming and also can cause damage, because if you want to withdraw, you have limited opportunities.
Okay, thank you. I think we have a follow-up question from Ireland China Institute. Regarding the Xiaohongshu and Jingdong, can Europeans based in Europe export via these apps?
So JD Worldwide dedicated to the cross-border e-commerce, yes, and I guess Xiaohongshu also provide this possibility, because as I mentioned, I mentioned the cross-border e-commerce. There are dedicated platforms for foreign companies to sell via this dedicated platform like JD Worldwide or Xiaohongshu.
Thank you. Next one is from Tong Wang. This person is asking, do you think now is the right time for European SMEs to enter China? Because according to the news, many foreign SMEs are leaving China.
Yes, it always depends on your company profile and on your dedication. If you want to make the Chinese market your priority, what kind of products, of course, you sell. For example, we have this dairy issue, but I saw that the dairy export to China rised down compared to the last year. So you have to check the background, and I think the possibilities of enter the Chinese market always exist, but you have to be well prepared and do some very good research and consider all pros and cons if your product is suitable for the Chinese market, if Chinese consumer would like to buy it.
Thank you. And we have one question from John. So do SMEs starting business in China typically set up base in China at an early stage, or do they wait until they have developed the business?
One more time, sorry, because
okay.
I have problems with
yeah.
hearing.
So John is asking if the SMEs are starting a business in China, do they usually set up a base in China in a very early stage, or do they wait until they have developed some scale of their business?
It's hard to tell because these are different approaches. Sometimes they are just testing their products via cross-border e-commerce because it's an easier way than the costly way to set up the subsidiary. It really depends, and this is not one solution. Usually they involve into a cooperation with agents and distributors.
Thank you. And one more question from Marco Urjala. Did I understand right that the EU SME Centre can carry out partner due diligence, or can you recommend a service provider to do that?
We do this informal. It's not in terms of legal, but we can do this initial company background check, tell you if they have any legal disputes or the scope of their business. So yes, we do this.
Okay, thank you. If you have more questions, please type in the chat box. For now, I have one question for you, Weronika, because I think it's very interesting that you mentioned the right now it's very competitive in large cities like Shanghai or Beijing for the SMEs to enter. And you recommended these SMEs to maybe go for the blue ocean, which is the second and third tier cities. But I think because these cities have less exposure to foreign brands, so what are the things that the European SMEs need to be aware of when they enter these markets that are less maybe familiar with foreign companies?
Yes, but in fact, the lower tier cities also have a growing middle class and also have a demand for these high quality products from Europe. Also, their disposable incomes are pretty high. So I think they are quite familiar with the goods from overseas. But of course, you have to educate them why they are so special. You have to maybe put more effort than in first tier cities, but first tier cities are very saturated with Western products. Maybe much more educational activities in these lower tier cities.
Okay, thank you. As a follow-up, do you think the consumer differences in the lower tier cities are different from the top tier cities?
Maybe sometimes because first tier cities people are used to, they have maybe less knowledge gaps, but not pretty sure about it. Not pretty sure about it.
Thank you.
I would have to check it.
We have more questions. One is from John Brennan. He's asking, are there any industry sectors which are more attractive to EU companies in the Chinese market?
Of course, we can see a push for green development, all of the green technologies. So this is what the Chinese direction are. So of course, for this kind of industries is always a place in China.
We have a question from the Ireland China Institute asking, can a non-Chinese citizen set up a WFOE without a visa? And what is the average fee?
Oh, I don't know. I have to check and I can come back with the answer after the webinar because I have to consult it.
Okay, thank you. And then one practical question. Will the slide deck be available after? I'm assuming that's a yes.
I think yes, I have to ask.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Okay, if no, I think we are just perfect on time. Thank you, Weronika, for joining us today. And thank you, John, for co-organizing this event. And thank you, Colin, for the logistics. And thank you, Sarah, for the presentation on the EU SME Center. I think it was a really successful session today. And I hope the audience also enjoyed the webinar today. I believe it was really helpful. And if you have any more questions or any doubts, you can reach directly to Weronika through the EU SME Center website or email. Just feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.